Good evening and welcome to CSL on the Lake. Let us join together in consciousness as we begin this evening's service. In the infinity of life, I discover strength and wisdom, power and love. I know in this moment that this infinite creative energy is everywhere present, all-knowing and all-powerful. And so it's right present where I am. It is the energy of life. It is a possibility of change, of growth. It is this divine presence that allows us to live, to move. It is the creative potential. All is possible as I relax into this divine awareness. So I'm filled with a sense of joy and celebration, of love and peace, as I know this evening unfolds with beauty and grace, in wonder and in awe. And I'm grateful for all of it. With love and joy, I release this into the one, and it is done, and so it is.
Our land acknowledgement. We work, live, and play on the historical and traditional territory of many indigenous nations, including the Anishinaabe and Wendat peoples, and more recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Haudenosaunee nations. As we gather from many places on Turtle Island, we as settlers are grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years, including the Métis, Inuit, and all other indigenous people. Also acknowledging that as we continue to grow and expand on these lands, there is still unresolved and dangerous inequality and discrimination toward our BIPOC and 2SLGBTQ plus family. By making these acknowledgements, we strive to be allies and take an active part in reconciliation. We recognize our oneness, we realize our history, and we choose to create a new reality. We are one. Our vision is transforming humanity through the emergence of the sacred, authentic self. Our mission is to welcome you as you are, where you are, without judgment or criticism, providing a sacred place of learning and growing as you seek to achieve your greatest dreams. We accomplish this by offering science of mind classes, social events, inspiring workshops, thought-provoking services, and practitioner support. We honor the revelation of your emerging, sacred, authentic, sacred self through our positive messaging and loving support. Let us now prepare for meditation with Nancy. Namaste.
Thank you, Amy. That was beautiful. So I'd like to ask if it's possible that everyone place your feet on the ground, and even better if you can remove your shoes and put your actual feet on the ground. And I thought tonight, because the message is about self-care, that we would spend this time in meditation, just bringing in fresh energy, cleansing out our day, relaxing our body, and then being grounded for the message ahead. So please close your eyes if you're comfortable and join me in 3 cleansing breaths, breathing in through your nose, exhaling through the mouth. Again, inhale and exhale. a final inhale and exhaling. Now put your attention slightly above your crown, just above your head. And notice that you can sense this area. This is where universal energy enters, not through breath, but through energy, like a funnel, into your being, bringing to you in every moment all that's required: knowledge, love, pure, absolute love and perfection in every moment. It's what you're made of. It's what source is. It's what all of us are. And allow this sense of this energy flowing into you, filling you, refreshing you in every moment. And I want you for a moment to just actually think about your day. Think about, was there stress in it, confusion, misunderstanding? Actually take a moment to acknowledge it. Bring it into the present. And then we're going to just allow it to float away. We're going to consciously choose to let it go. And now, bringing our attention back into our body. Allow this energy to just float downward with no effort, flowing in through the top of your head. It's just being pulled down through your body, very slowly, with intention. Noticing your breath getting calmer. Noticing all your cells just settling in, becoming present. Welcoming the energy, giving gratitude from your heart. And allow gratitude and love to float out through your heart to everyone in this group. Allow it to flow even further to everyone in your neighborhood. Now allow it to flow out into the country. And now flow it everywhere on the planet. Now allow your love to expand so big that it fills every particle in the cosmos. Now bring your attention back to your heart, where all of your love flows effortlessly from you. Give gratitude to this organ that keeps you alive in every moment. It allows you to feel love and give love. It's such a gift. Just take a moment to acknowledge it. And now move down to your feet. Move down to the soles of your feet that are on the planet. I'm going to breathe again. But this time our intention will be in our feet. And with every exhale, I want you to imagine that beautiful silver vines grow out of your feet. They carry light and energy and love deep into the planet. Every exhale, these vines go deeper and deeper, connecting you in a grounded way to everything that exists. The soil, the water under the soil, all the roots of all the plants on the planet. Just keep breathing and allow this grounded energy to just calm your body, become more stable. Thank the ground, thank the vines that you've grown. Thank the soles of your feet for allowing this energy to flow out of you. And now move back into your heart. And thank your body for simply being alive. And with a final breath, we inhale and exhale.
So the topic tonight is the evolution of self-care. And normally when we think of self-care, we think of, maybe what the dictionary defines it as, the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. In simple terms, self-care is caring for yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. In doing so, we protect our overall health, well-being, and sense of happiness. So that's kind of the dictionary definition. And self-care, we often think of areas like physical, emotional, social, spiritual, space, financial. And it's all about, I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's all about doing. It's all these doing things that we are going to do to take care of ourselves. And as I was looking up different things throughout the week, I came across some little humorous statements that actually are quite wonderful. And my favorite one is not humorous at all, but the most important, I think. Talk to yourself like someone you love. Yes, talk to yourself like someone you love. The journey that we're on is often busy and we're distracted and there's so many things going on at once that we can get derailed a little bit and we can start being fearful, we can doubt, we can have a lot of guilt and shame going on, and we can be a little judgmental, critical of ourselves often, and also of others. And the thing that we want to do is begin to reshape that. The way to heal the world is not to look at it as broken, but to accept it as it is and to come to a place of absolute love and acceptance, which means I see it as the wholeness that it is. I allow it to reveal that by being from that place of wholeness myself. And so we begin this journey by moving into a place of absolute love. So the evolution of self-care is about being in love, first with ourselves, because as we love ourselves, we now have that to give. It's about creating from where we are, about who we actually are, how we were created to be, not how our parents wanted us to be, or our teachers, or our bosses, or our spouses, or our friends, our neighbors, our siblings. None of that matters. What matters is what's in our own heart and what it is that we really want to express in our world. When I was looking at these little statements, one of them that I quite loved was know your worth and then make sure to add tax to it, that 13%, add a little bit more, or resting is a part of the process, even if it's not a part of the plan. I mean, how many times do we get so busy in life that we know we need a nap, we're exhausted, we're tired, but we don't take it? So self-care is really about finding who we actually are and then being that without regret, without guilt, without criticism and judgment, And when we look at the world around us, if we are judging the events around us, if we're judging the people around us, the things that are happening, that judgment actually is coming from some place within ourselves. And so the most healing thing we can do is become consciously aware of where our attention goes, to look at the things that we judge as wrong or bad, and instead come into alignment with the idea that the universe is where it is right at this moment due to the consciousness of humanity at this time. So in fact, everything is working out perfectly. We may not like it, but it is what it is as a result of consciousness. So I was reading in one of my favorite little books today, Joy is My Compass by Alan Cohen. And he was talking about, you know, being on a bit of a road trip, and he's hungry and he needs to stop somewhere, and there's nothing really great around. So he goes to the only place he could find, which was a McDonald's. And on this particular day at McDonald's, it was filled with kids. It was like a family day thing. And so lots of children, and there was a birthday party. So he was sitting, gets his food, and he's salting his fries, and he's thinking, oh, I've heard they put sugar on these things before they even cook them. And then he's thinking about the quality of his food, and he's judging it as bad and awful. And he's listening to these children and all the ways they're manipulating their parents and their families. And he's just really upset with that as well, like it's spoiling his day. And he's trying to find a quiet place where he can go and just kind of, you know, enjoy his food, which of course he can't really enjoy because he's judging it as being bad and awful. And all of a sudden he has this awareness that, what if I look at it differently? What if I perceive it from the idea that it's all okay? And so he hears this little small voice. What if this were all okay? What do you mean all okay? My conscious mind retorted, this scene is weird. Think again. Imagine, just imagine for a moment that all of this is okay. And that none of what you see around you holds any real threat to you or your power to be happy right now. Imagine that your safety remains quite inviolate even in the midst of this storyline. Well, now that was interesting. I did feel a breeze of peace as I considered the notion. I began to reconsider the scene, attempting to look at it in this new and different light. I pondered the thought that sugar has no real power to affect my ability to love. I considered that the list of loving attributes of the God within me is longer than the list of preservatives in the apple pie I was eating. And how would I feel if I knew there was no real harm in, there was this wonderful Ronald McDonald, plastic Ronald McDonald telling jokes to the kids. And he says, what if there was no real harm in that plastic toy telling silly jokes to children? I shifted my attention to the kids playing with Ronald McDonald. They were laughing, they were happy, they were in heaven. I enjoyed watching them. Something happened to me when I let it all be okay. I felt relief. My heart opened. I was at peace. I had found the answer to being there. I had found the answer to all life. Just let it be. I got in line for some more French fries and apple pie. That's what they serve in heaven, I found out. What I loved about that, again, it all comes back to perception. Sometimes we're looking at the world out here and we're frustrated, annoyed, we're judging it, we're critical of what's going on around us, and it is affecting our mood. And I don't know if we always acknowledge that immediately in the moment, but my thoughts are producing the emotional field that I'm living in. And the field that I'm living in is creating something. So if I'm driving on the highway and I flip into road rage because somebody cuts me off, well, what happens is I elevate my blood pressure and adrenaline and stuff. And what do? I reduce my life expectancy. So it's not really a win-win by any stretch of the imagination. So when I think of the evolution of self-care, what I think about is how can I be more accepting of what is and at the same time still have the energy to move lovingly toward a greater possibility. And that's the journey that we're on right now, I think, is to release judgment and criticism. I was listening to a podcast this week, and a gentleman by the name of Robert Grant was the guest on this podcast. And he was talking about the world is a difficult place because we as people really hate ourselves. We're ashamed of this or that. We're guilty about this. We feel resentment toward whatever. And it is that self-loathing that has created the difficult world. If in fact we could flip the switch, and if we began to look at the evolution of self-care as the realization of full embodiment of love, of accepting life as it is, where it is, how it is, without judgment and criticism, allowing ourselves to be present moment by moment, rather than striving for something out there that we currently don't have, which is causing us misery, not because we don't have it, but because we're thinking about what we lack, or we're thinking about what we regret, or we're thinking about, the guilt we have because we made a mistake. Well, wake up, everybody has. We've all made mistakes. So we're shifting the story, we're shifting our perception, we're allowing ourselves to wake up a little bit to a new idea and a new possibility. And when we do that, when we sit back and change our thought pattern, the saying, change your thinking, change your life, it's for real. It absolutely happens that as we change the thoughts that we're having about the events of our lives, we begin to change the events. And even if the events don't change, as in the story of Alan Cohen, he was still in McDonald's. He was still eating junk food. He was still surrounded by screaming, yelling, happy children. But in the moment that he shifted his perspective, he shifted his experience. He had an experience, and kind of an epiphany moment, when he realized that it was his thoughts about his environment that was creating his pain and suffering, not the environment. And how often do we do that? How often do we look at life and the world and wish it were different? And all the wishing is not going to make it happen. But love is the answer to every question, every challenge, every situation, that if we can open our hearts and begin to come to our own life from love, what happens is that then spills over. And if we look at the meditation that Nancy just did about that love moving out, it begins within us, and then it grows and it expands, and it fills our homes and our cities and our world. What happens is that love is the healing vibration of life itself, and it is the way that we will move forward. So it begins by looking in the mirror. And Louise Hay, she has a great story of healing when she learned to look in the mirror and go, Louise, I love you. I really love you. And coming to that place of comfort doing that, we begin to heal ourselves, mind and body and soul. It's not about what we do. It's more about what we think about what's going on around us, what we've done in the past, or what we're preparing to do now. If we can get a handle on the thought processes that are derailing us, we can begin to live in a greater sense of harmony and peace. Another one of the statements that I found when I was looking for humor was, when they say it runs in the family, respond with, this is where it runs out. I'm done. Just because it runs in the family, well, the buck stops here. And another one is, self-care is giving the world the best of you instead of what's left of you. So this journey tonight and the conversation that I hope you will have in the breakout rooms is about how willing you are to really love life as it is, to love yourself where you are, and to begin to embrace all of you, the light and the dark. We all have it. And if you're pretending you don't, well, We know your secret. We all have it. We all have the light and the dark. And what we want to do is bring the two together. And as we do that, there's this shift that occurs that as I accept myself, it's so much easier for me to accept all of you. Then there's the thing that we're doing is moving out of that place of self-hatred into that place of self-love. So of all the things we could do, a hot bubble bath is lovely. Putting our feet up and reading a good book, resting when we need to rest, all those things are terrific. Journaling, meditating. But really what it all comes back to is, can I love myself enough that I could love you enough that you could love you so that you could start loving me? The evolution of self-care. And there was one other thing I wanted to share. Alan Cohen is so good. The book is Joy is My Compass. It's such a wonderful. He says, love it all. He says, the law of love is founded on one basic truth. There's one power in the universe, and the power is love. Love is of God and is the same as God. God has no attributes in conflict with love and is incapable of any action other than love. There is no force in the universe opposing God, for there is no power outside of the one who created all things in the image and likeness of love. The healing of evil is accomplished not by overcoming or annihilating a force or enemy with power, but by choosing to see life through the eyes of love rather than fear. And love in this context really truly means acceptance of what is. So let it be. So as we get ready to move into the breakout rooms, I'd just like to review our intentions for sharing, so we're all clear. I am creating a divine space of understanding, love, and compassion for each person to share their beliefs and perspectives in this experience. I am speaking and acting for myself personally and not for others, and will share my truth honestly and respectfully. I am trusting that this is a safe place to step outside my comfort zone, or rather my familiar place. I am keeping my opinions and advice to myself and will not crosstalk nor give advice or suggestions. I am keeping confidential what is shared here. I am ensuring each participant has equal time to share. I am lightening up and I am joy. So the questions that I want you to ponder this evening are, how do I make space for self-care regularly? Do I truly love and accept all aspects of me? Do I believe that I make the world a better place through my hard work and or dedication to causes? Is the world better if I absolutely love all of me as I am and accept the world as it is? So those are the questions to ponder today.